The Carrie Diaries show was a prequel that looked at the past. Now we're imagining the future. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're asking Sex and the City characters, where are they now? Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're playing out a what-if scenario and looking at what we imagine would have happened to each of our favorite New Yorkers after the events of the second movie took place. While the show itself wrapped up in 2004, we were able to revisit Carrie and Company in two movies, released in 2008 and 2010 respectively. In case you don't remember where we left these characters at the end of Sex and the City 2, or if you skipped it altogether, we're gonna get you up to speed. Carrie and Big were married, but there was trouble in paradise because Carrie wanted to feel the excitement, or zazazoo you might say, that she remembered from earlier in their relationship.
Big and I are thinking about taking 2 days a week apart to do our own thing.
Is everything okay?
Oh yeah, it's just something we're talking about.
Both Miranda and Charlotte were busy moms who lamented the struggles of balancing motherhood with their other pursuits. Samantha was trying to keep her libido up in her 50s and was succeeding admirably.
What do you do for a living, Nikki?
I lay concrete.
That sounds promising.
Anthony and Stanford got married in an over-the-top ceremony that we never could have dreamed up. All four ladies took a trip to Abu Dhabi together and came home with some perspective on their personal issues. All right, now that you're all caught up, let's get our imaginations going.
And like it always will, time moved us on.
Let's start off with Stanford and Anthony, the most adorably mismatched couple out there.
Stanford gets the wedding of his dreams and I get to cheat. And don't give me that face, Char. Just because I'm getting married doesn't mean I have to change who I am.
Their extravagant nuptials kicked off the action in the second film, but that was back in 2010, so they've had plenty of time to sail through the honeymoon phase and settle into wedded bliss. We imagine they would have absolutely wanted to start a family together, or at least Stanford would have, and would have hired a surrogate to carry their baby for them. Stanford probably would have asked his good friend Carrie to be the egg donor, but let's be honest, that ship has sailed. As for their professional lives, the couple probably would have parlayed Samantha's PR connections into a daytime TV show, where they could show off their respective skills.
I'm a nice little package. I got good arms and a high, tight ass.
Stanny, with his unique style and skills as a talent agent, could talk about marketing yourself, while Anthony, of course, would focus on fashion and event planning. We'd watch the heck out of the Stanthony show. Speaking of Samantha, we'd imagine that she's finally settled down now that she's in her 60s. Just kidding, she's as wild and fiery as ever. Her career is going gangbusters, but more than that, she's focused on furthering causes that she strongly believes in. Keeping up with the times, she would be a vocal supporter of the Me Too movement and would probably help organize or lead a slut walk. As a cancer survivor, she'd also put together a yearly benefit event to raise money for breast cancer research. Maybe the event would feature the fiercest drag queens and the theme would be snatching wigs. By now, she would be in an open relationship with a man she loves very much, which gives her the sexual freedom she's always craved, along with some security. She does, however, have to contend with all the issues that come along with it, but at least she hasn't caught monogamy yet. Ultimately, she knows age ain't nothing but a number, especially if you've got the right creams, pills, and doctors to help you.
Samantha, you look amazing.
I guess you do. What have you had done?
Nothing. I'm 100% natural.
Samantha Jones is the type of woman who would post an Instapic for the 10-year challenge and look exactly the same, if not better. Let's move on to our favorite Park Avenue princess, Charlotte York Goldenblatt. At this point, her two little girls, Lily and Rose, would be almost grown up, with one in middle school and one in high school. She and Harry remain very happy together, and still manage time for intimacy a couple of times a week. But Charlotte easily gets roped into trying to be a supermom who can contend with all the other mothers of the Upper East Side private school system.
I feel guilty. I feel so guilty because all I ever prayed for was to have a family, and now I have these two beautiful girls.
And?
They're driving me crazy.
We imagine she'd become a devotee of a really intense new exercise regime like hardcore spinning or hot yoga to burn off some of her extra energy. She would post photos of her perfect baking on Instagram because of course her baking would be perfect. She would still love art and continue her work in the museum world once her kids were old enough. Maybe even taking a painting course to work on expressing herself through art. But she would be doing it purely for herself, and not because of some secret aspirations to make it as an artist. She has always been a touch high-strung, so she would need outlets for her feelings. Believe it or not, today, Miranda and Steve would be parents to a son who's almost ready to head off to college. Yup, Brady Hobbs is a teenager. Or is it Brady? Brady Hobbs Brady? Oh boy. Anyway, they'd have to contend with becoming empty nesters since they never did have another child. At the end of Sex and the City 2, Miranda quit her job to join a firm with more relaxed hours and looser demands on her time. Today, we imagine she's the head of her own law firm based in Manhattan. So the family of 3 would have eventually moved to the Upper West Side so she could be closer to work. Miranda would be motivated by the current political climate to run for some sort of political office in New York, just like actress Cynthia Nixon. But in Miranda's case, it's mayor of New York. As seems to be the case for all potential politicians these days, Miranda is a vocal Twitter user, which of course got her into a bit of hot water when she criticized President Trump on multiple occasions. Would we call what they've got going a Twitter feud? Definitely. But it did get Miranda some FaceTime on CNN, upped her public profile, and earned her a Trump nickname, Raggedy Miranda. You know, like Raggedy Ann because of the red hair? Yeah, not his best. So maybe it was a good move. As for Steve, his bar Scout may have closed down a few years ago, but we can picture him partnering with a big-name chef to open a bar/restaurant in the Village that always has a line out the door. For better or for worse, we know that Carrie and Big would still be together, even if their relationship has had its ups and downs.
Repeat after me, please. I will never kiss another man other than my husband.
I will never kiss another man other than my husband.
They would definitely still be living in New York because it truly is Carrie's home, although they would have done plenty of traveling and enjoying their child-free lifestyle. Carrie's career would have progressed, and maybe she'd be running a popular podcast on sex, relationships, or even fashion. She would also continue writing books because print is not completely dead, and would still write occasionally for Vogue. She wouldn't be afraid to branch out and tackle more serious, mature, and deeply personal topics in her writing. And we can picture her taking a hard look at some of her earlier romantic and sexual experiences through the lens of the current social climate. She'd also be the cool aunt to Charlotte's 2 daughters.
What's the coolest thing in this room?
I think my globes are kind of cool.
And most importantly, she would have launched an ultra-successful shoe line, with Blahnik & Bradshaw being sold in high-end stores across the world. But of course, these 4 ladies are still besties, sharing meals, cosmos, and secrets with each other on a regular basis.
To us. And the next 50.
To the next 50.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from MsMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.